Welcome to this section on granting user access. Before continuing, make sure that you have opened a free AWS account and installed the AWS command line interface. Instructions are in the setup videos for this course. This will allow you to follow along with the demonstrations. In this section, we will cover the master root account, which is the default user which comes with every new account. If you log in as the root account, you will have full permissions. But this account is dangerous to use because you can't restrict its privileges. So for a better alternative, we'll show you how to use the Identity and Access Management Service, or IAM, to create users with limited access. Finally, we'll show you how to create credentials and use them to call AWS APIs from the command line. In the first video of this section, we will cover the master account, also known as the root account. In this video, we're going to take a look at new accounts and the access they provide, access keys, which are used to call AWS Service APIs, and ways to protect your master account. When you open a new AWS account, you provide an email address and password. With this, you can sign into the management console with unrestricted privileges. In fact, it is impossible to restrict the permissions of this master root account. So if someone guesses or finds out your password, they can do whatever they want and you can't delete the master account. In the next section, we'll talk about IAM, which is a way to create users with limited privileges. However, there are no default IAM users created automatically. So for new accounts, you only have the master account. But you can and should immediately use IAM to create other users and grant these users access to any service and operation, but also deny them privileges for services they should not have privileges for. However, billing information is normally reserved for just the master account, and you can't give IAM users billing permissions by default. But as the master account, you can override this default behavior and allow billing privileges to be assigned to IAM users. Passwords are only used to log in to the management console. To use AWS APIs, users must have access keys, which consist of an access key ID and a secret key. Together, they are used to sign API calls from the command line, and they are also used by the SDKs. The request signature is used to authenticate the user making the request. Once the user is authenticated, the AWS service checks that the user has the proper permissions to make the request. Credentials are typically stored in a plain text file on the machine from which you are making the request. The credentials for the master account will give anyone who has access to them full permissions. So as you can tell, the permissions file for the master account must be kept very secure. In fact, the recommended best practice is that you delete the access keys for the root account completely and generally avoid logging into the management console with your master email address and password. In fact, when you try to access the security credentials of your master account, you will see this pop up below, which is reminding you that the root credentials are full privilege. You will need to log in as root when you create a new AWS account, but you should immediately create an IAM user for yourself with admin privileges and then log out of the master account. IAM users and roles can also get access keys, so these are what you should use in your API requests. Since you cannot delete the master account, you should keep it extra secure by enabling multi-factor authentication on it. Once you do this, you will no longer be able to log into the management console with just the root password. You'll also have to supply an additional time-based one-time password from an MFA device. These are devices that display a numeric code that changes about every 30 seconds or so. So you must provide the one-time password from the MFA device in addition to your regular password to log into the console. The most secure form of MFA device is a hardware key fob or display card that is manufactured by Gemalto. You can buy these inexpensively through Amazon.com. Once you obtain an MFA device, you synchronize it with your AWS account. The best practice for the master account is to associate a hardware MFA device with it and then lock the device in a safe. An alternative to purchasing hardware MFA devices is to use a free mobile app such as Google Authenticator. This is a virtual MFA device and generates time-based passwords just like the hardware devices. The final option is to just register your phone number and then let AWS send you an SMS text message with the one-time password. Before we end this video, let's go into my demo account and make my master account more secure. So we go under my name and choose security credentials. Here's the pop-up that says that this is an account with full privileges. Let's just go and continue. So let's go ahead and enable multi-factor authentication for my root account. Click on multi-factor authentication, activate MFA. I'm going to use the Google Authenticator application, so it's going to be a virtual MFA device, and then click next step again. In order to synchronize the device in AWS, we just have to scan this barcode with the Google Authenticator app, and now we have a code that we can plug in here. The device gives us a one-time password, and then after about 30 seconds it changes to a second one. We need to put in both of these in order to synchronize. That's it. I have now enabled MFA on my root account. So if I log out, I'm going to need to provide the MFA code the next time I log in with my root account. Here's where you need to put the one-time password from the MFA device. So I'll open up Google Authenticator, put in the new code, and now I am able to log in. In this video, we discussed the master account and steps you can take to secure it.